What a terrible name, too, right?
There's an evil in these streets, but people, they keep walking. The government is hush-hush and preachers ain't talking. Everybody's quiet as a mouse, 'cause you don't get concerned unless it happens in your house.
This is Pastor Greg Locke. Now, if you watch my channel very much, you'll probably recognize him. I cover him fairly frequently. As it turns out, all the way back in, 2013, he did a rap video. He calls himself Rev Rhymes, as in Reverend Rhymes. I'm dead serious. Let's listen to this rap video. I've been hesitant to listen up to now because, YouTube, music and stuff, but I'm legitimately criticizing the song, so we should be okay. And on top of that, there's another rap video. I am dead serious. Another one. All the way back from, this has got to be 2000s, right? 2003, 04 maybe? I don't know. Long time ago, anyway. So we're going to cover both. And then we're going to talk about Greg Locke more generally, what got him to the place that he's at. So, yeah, let's listen to Rev Rhymes rap for us now.
There are more people in the bondage of slavery today than at any other time in the history of the world. 40% of all of our missing children in America are caught in trafficking rings. The average individual that is trafficked is sold for $90, and 75% of them are sold by someone that they know very well.
All right, now we're going to step back and dissect this line by line now that we've seen a little bit of this. I'm going to do this a little bit throughout the episode. Just play a section and then dissect the pieces of it individually.
There are more people in the bondage of slavery today than at any other time in the history of the world.
That might technically be true strictly as a function of numbers, like how many people are there in the world, right? Like, there are more murders in the world right now than there have ever been, but that's because there are 8 billion people, where, 2,000 years ago, there were not anywhere near that, maybe 1 million on the planet, something like that. I don't remember the numbers. That's why you have to look per capita. And actually, right now, this moment in time is better than pretty much any other time in human history. Less death per capita, less suffering per capita, less slavery per capita. I mean, there are a billion metrics that you can measure this by, so he just lives in a fantasy land. But we knew that about him.
There are more people in the bondage of slavery today than at any other time in the history of the world. 40% of all of our missing children in America are caught in trafficking rings.
Hold on, what was that? 40% of missing children are caught in trafficking ring? Is that even true? That doesn't sound true to me. This is pre-QAnon, this video. And when QAnon came around, they started hyping up a statistic that said something like 400,000 children go missing per day or something. I don't even remember now. Hang on, let me look the statistic up before I quote it to you. I'm not exactly sure what number QAnon cites. I thought it was around 400,000 children per year, which is here it is. 420,000 children per year go missing. That's the number that QAnon cites. Now, that's completely inaccurate. Does not give the full picture of what's actually happening. This number includes, Tommy wandered off when his mom was looking at earrings at the mall. They couldn't find him, so they reported it. The police show up. They found him at the ice cream shop next door. And the kid was recovered basically within minutes. Those, cases are included in this 420,000 number, and they're more common than you would think. So 420,000 people per year are not going missing. That's nuts. That is a ridiculous number. It's really hard to get data on this issue. I tried looking it up not too long ago, but it's hard to know for sure. According to this Insider article, according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the organization assisted with 29,000 missing children cases in 2019, and 91% of them were endangered runaways. So these are people that left intentionally because of their home life or whatever. This is not people being captured and sold into slavery or whatever. It's just absolutely absurd to believe any of this. Greg Locke is straight up wrong. He has no idea what the statistics actually are. He's just throwing out random numbers right now that sound scary. Anyway, let's keep listening.
Other time in the history of the world. 40% of all of our missing children in America are caught in sex trafficking rings.
You're completely made up. 90% of them were runaways, according to one assessment.
The average individual that is trafficked is sold for $90, and 75% of them are sold by someone that they know very much.
Like, all of these claims are completely made up. All of them. None of this is based in reality. $90? Really? You think it's worth $90 to kidnap a human being? With the cops on your trail and everything else? No. That's ridiculous. All of it. He has no clue what he's talking about, but that's always been the case, right? Where did he get his statistics, I want to know.
Sold by someone that they know very much.
Okay, the beat is not bad, actually, in my opinion. It had this weird little skipping part here. That didn't really make any sense. It didn't really follow a beat exactly, but generally speaking, I feel like it's a decent beat, right? It's got kind of a 90s feel to it, and I think it would work if he dropped another beat on top of it after he starts talking or before he starts talking, but it seems to just be this all the way through, so I don't know. Weird. What a terrible name, too, right?
There's an evil in these streets, but people, they keep walking. The government is hush-hush and preachers ain't talking. Everybody's quiet as a mouse, 'cause you don't get concerned unless it happens in your house.
Okay, so people are not paying attention to this. They're quiet. They're not talking about it because it's not happening to you. Well, actually, people are quiet about it because it's not happening, period. But okay. I mean, there is human trafficking taking place. The numbers are dramatically lower than he is implying or even outright saying here. Just absurd on every level. It has to be a conspiracy with this guy, right? It has to be explained because the government is trying to cover it up and you're just not paying attention. Blah, 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 blah. It's so stupid.
See it on the news all the time. So no more can I keep silent, so I'm busting out this rhyme. It's time to lift the lid on a subject that ain't nice. They snatching up our kids, selling them out like they merchandise. We've overlooked it like a big misplacement, not thinking about the girls beat up naked in a basement.
He's trying to draw a vivid image of something that, you know, he's never seen, that's almost not happening. I mean, sure, it is happening. Andrew Tate is a perfect example of this happening. And what did Greg Locke do when he found out about Andrew Tate? Tried to imitate him. Really. He released something called The Man Plan. Yeah, I don't have a copy of The Man Plan right now, apparently. I covered it on one of my channels not too long ago. Just search for it on one of my channels. It should pop up. But he tried to imitate him. Okay, he hasn't called Andrew Tate out once. But what he's describing was literally done by him, okay? The height of hypocrisy. Doesn't care.
Thinking about the girls beat up naked in a basement. There's no hope for victims, only danger. Forced all the time, having sex with a stranger. I know that sounds so dirty, you'd rather turn your face, but you can't sit there silent and still preach about his grace. It's gonna take an army to stand against this wrong. It's become an epidemic that's now 30 million strong.
30 million people in human trafficking rings? Is that even true? How would you even estimate something like that? Is he getting these numbers from somebody real? Of course not. He's making most of this stuff up, if not all of it.
My friend, this ain't no game. Don't act like you can pause it. Imagine it's your kid in some dirty dude's closet. I'm not apologizing for being too graphic. It's time to break the silence for the victims of the traffic.
So the song, generally, I just want to address the song because, you know, it's only covered if I criticize it. Plus, I like criticizing music. I feel like it's the same drab beat from beginning to end. And if he really wanted to draw somebody in, he should have dropped another beat on top of it. Add a guitar in. Hell, get your girlfriend in there to play the triangle if you want. Like, whatever. Just something more than just the same repeated drum set over and over and over again. For what it's worth, he is a drum player. Apparently, he loved playing the drums. And we're going to listen to an example of it in a minute. But yeah, he should have worked something else into this.
To break the silence for the victims of the traffic.
It's the same beat over and over again. There's nothing new about it. Usually in the chorus, they'll drop a new beat on top of it, but no. He had no idea what he was doing, and he didn't seem to want to consult with someone who did. See, right here, he should be dropping a new beat because it's kind of an intermission.
This ain't some little problem that's just sitting on a shelf. $50 billion a year speaks for itself. It's time to scrub a dub, clean our cities like water, and tell these stinking pimps, keep your hands off our daughters. Modern day.
Tell these deacon pimps, is that what he said?
Our cities like water, and tell these stinking pimps, keep.
Oh, these stinking pimps. Okay, I couldn't tell if he was talking about Catholicism or just people, human traffickers. For what it's worth, pimps are actually human traffickers. People underestimate or miscalculate what they do and their value in society. Pimps are basically Andrew Tate. They think and act the exact same way, manipulate women and take money from them. A lot of people think that they're just protection for them. No, they're not. They're manipulative, terrible human traffickers, really. Pimps are not good. Who was it? Cat Williams, I think, was proud of being a pimp for a while, right? Doesn't he go around claiming to have been a pimp? Yeah, we'll talk about Cat Williams in a minute. That's another story, but pimping is really bad.
Slavery, yeah, I'm being for real. I ain't talking about no cotton picking out in the field. People tired.
Okay, so I'm talking about slavery, not cotton picking type of slavery, okay?
About no cotton picking out in the field. People tied up, beat down in submission, chained to the bed, can't get up without permission. We choose to close our eyes and turn around the other way. But if we don't do something, then this mess is here to stay. It's way past time to start lifting up our voices. We gotta get equipped, mobilize, join forces. Don't look at me so shocked, like ignorance is bliss. I guarantee you'll change when they tricking out your kids.
When they're tricking out your kids. This is just bad. This is straight up bad. Embarrassing and terrible. And you know what? You know what's kind of interesting about it, in my opinion? This video is still on YouTube on his channel, Rev Rhymes. Really, he started a YouTube channel called Rev Rhymes with like 2,000 subbies on it, and it's still uploaded there in public. That's where I got this from. That's bad.
Come a big business, second only to drugs. The people making money ain't a bunch of stupid thugs.
Yeah, so human trafficking is as big as drug. It is a big problem. That's true. It's a big problem. And it's a lot of the time it's underestimated. But yeah, this is just completely fabricated, all of it.
Stupid thugs, they're all walks of life. Everybody you meet, chances are there's a perpetrator living on your street.
That's true. That's true. Statistically, it's likely that one of your neighbors within a mile of you smokes weed. And statistically, it's likely one of them is an alcoholic. One of them has a rich family. One of them is a human trafficker. Yeah, I mean, that's how statistics work. It's likely that somebody from all walks of life is within your vicinity. Okay?
The perpetrator living on your street. The face of this crime is a growing demographic. It's time to break the silence for the victims of the traffic. It's
time to break the silence for the victims of the traffic.
It's time to break the silence for the victims of the traffic.
Wow, I loved that effect. Look at this, dude. This fireball effect here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Tour de Hope, it says here. Global Vision. Cycling to make a difference. This is so painful. I can't stand it. It is so painful to watch. For the record, one of my viewers, Progress Only, sent me a link to the original logo that we're looking at right now. This is actually a stolen logo from Grand Valley State University. That is trademark infringement if I have ever seen it. Of course, he changed his logo since then, but still, this is just straight up brazen, right? His church had existed since 2006 and was pretty well known all the way through that time. Pretty prominent. He had hundreds of attendees by this point. He was not a nobody. He was considered a mega church in my mind. But he's not above stealing somebody else's trademarked logo. A state university, no less. My God, dude. What possessed him to do something like this? If he's going to do something like this, he should have done it right. He didn't seemingly even study hip-hop or rap at all to figure out how people do this. He came up with a single beat that played from beginning to end and a single tempo. No chorus. He didn't have an in-between part that splits up the song into sections. Nothing. He didn't have it's called a hook. He didn't even have a hook. He had nothing at all. It's garbage. I mean, the music video was actually okay. I mean, it was low budget and cheesy, but that's what you expect from somebody who doesn't have a lot of money to spend, so it's forgivable. The explosion at the end, that's not really forgivable. That's just complete garbage. But the song was bad, just straight up bad. Well, as it turns out, he made another song, and he based it on Eminem's song, Lose Yourself. Yeah, it's called Lose Yourself. That's the song that this is based on. I had to think about it for a second. You haven't even heard it yet. I was going through it in my head to try to remember. But yeah, fantastic Eminem song. I'm honestly surprised that Greg Locke, recognized it or knew this song. I thought he was, super against, rap music or whatever. But, he was a meth head for a while, actually. He talks about that, or has talked about it before. So he probably listened to Eminem when he was a meth head, I'm assuming. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's give this one a listen. I don't know when it's from. I'm guessing sometime in the mid-2000s. Check this out.
If I had $1 million, let me tell you where it go. I would give it all to Jesus so that he may use it so. But since I am a pauper and I have no gold to spend, I'm going to give my life to Jesus Christ until my journey's end.
Okay, if I had $1 million, I'd give it to Jesus. But since I'm a pauper, is that what he said? Since I'm a pauper, I'll give my time to Jesus instead of my money, okay?
I was once in bondage, my life was full of sin, until that wonderful night when my Savior came in, he came within me.
That's what she said. Okay.
That wonderful night when my Savior came in, he came within me and gave me a new start.
You cannot tell me he didn't know what he was saying when he said that. You cannot tell me. You can't convince me he didn't know how that would be interpreted.
New start. He took me from the miry clay and gave me a new heart. I'm the leader of the pack, but my sheep call me pastor. Walking in the steps of my Lord and my master. Life's too short to be playing with games. I'm gonna get busy finding me some names of the people that need some real teaching. Open up my Bible, do some full tilt preaching. Jesus gave a clear command directed right at you, but in your busy schedule you have failed to follow through. The world is on its way to hell, but do we even care? Instead of speaking gospel, we just always stop and stare.
Okay, let's just try to break this down. Let's listen to this last little section here, see what he said.
Your busy schedule you have failed to follow through. The world is on its way to hell, but do we even care?
The world is on its way to hell, but do we even care?
Instead of speaking gospel, we just always stop and stare.
Instead of speaking out, we stop and stare, okay? I don't think anybody is stopping and staring, for what it's worth. People are disgusted by the things that happen around them a lot of the time. Christians and non-Christians. But what can be done? Aside from writing congressmen and asking them to change things or fix this or that or whatever.
It's time to get a burden for people and their fears, but you only cry at movies and for souls you shed no tears.
So you only cry at movies, but at what you shed no tears?
You shed no tears.
Oh, at souls. Okay. So you cry at movies, but you don't shed tears at souls. At souls losing their lives, I guess, or something. Okay?
So let's get busy. Let's make the right decision and walk about this place with a big global vision.
Absolutely terrible. Terrible in every way. This is just bad. Apparently he was really into music and playing drums and rap and stuff. That's really interesting to me. I wonder why he gave up on it. I mean, he's got a full-blown band now. He could be in that band if he wanted. I guess he chose not to be, right? And on another note, why is it that there's always a little recording thing in the corner? Whose bright idea was it in the camera manufacturing factory? And they said, hey, you know what? When we're recording, we should cover part of the screen with a little thing that says recording. That's genius. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. These ideas that Greg Locke has espoused are by no stretch of the imagination new, obviously. Those are from the mid-2000s and the mid-2010s. And he hasn't given up on them either. He still believes this stuff. Let me show you a couple of clips. This one's from 2022, July 6, 2022, okay? This is reasonably new. It should give you an idea of what the guy believes, how he views the world to this day. Remember, those rap songs were 15 years old 20 years old, maybe, some of them. And he still believes this. Listen to this. Listen to this video from him.
Full-blown demon-possessed Satan worshipers like Kenneth Copeland, the most powerful pastor in America. He's a demon, and he's going to hell, and you tell him I said so.
For what it's worth, saying that is actually against YouTube's terms of service. You cannot call somebody a demon or claim that they are, that they have this intrinsic quality about them that makes them inferior to somebody else or whatever. Greg Locke had his channel deleted by YouTube for this type of thing right here. But, of course, he created another channel, so anyway, keep listening.
I'm about to kick his pulpit over and preach wide slam open tonight.
Wide slam open, okay.
That low-down sorry trafficking.
Oh, boy.
I wish to God he would take me to court.
Talking about Kenneth Copeland still.
I wish to God that demon would take me to court. I'll show the pictures I've got.
Okay, wait a minute now. You're telling me you have pictures that are incriminating of Kenneth Copeland and you haven't given them to the police? You haven't shown them to somebody yet? You must be joking. He probably doesn't realize it. I mean, he doesn't have any pictures. This is completely made up, right? I'd be willing to bet that he doesn't know this, but owning pictures like that is illegal. You cannot possess CP, basically. That's against the law. Even if it's meant to, incriminate somebody or something, it doesn't matter. If you own those pictures, you're going to jail too. You're just as guilty for not turning them over. Cops show up, see those pictures in your house, and what do they think? You're supposed to turn that shit over to the cops, okay? He thinks this is some kind of a W. It's not.
You ever send another dime to that low-down sorry I pray God curses your finances. I'm sick of these demon-worshiping pastors like Joel Osteen.
Okay, this is really interesting to me that he criticizes Joel Osteen, because Osteen is more of a kind of a self-help guru type of person than anything, right? He's not hateful the same way that Kenneth Copeland is. Just kind of weird. I mean, he still believes all the same stuff. He just doesn't talk about it as much.
Look, I'm just going to say it tonight. I don't care what the news media says. Joel Osteen ain't going to sue Greg Locke. I wished you would. Dude's worth so many millions of dollars, it's ridiculous. Why don't they sue the hillbilly preacher? I'll tell you why. Because he knows I'm right.
You can't base your assumption off of the fact that somebody did not take an action like sue you, in my opinion. I talked about this the other day, but I'm not really comfortable with this. If Joel Osteen doesn't want to draw attention to this situation or whatever, that's perfectly within his rights.
I'm going to call them all out when I have to. You say, oh my goodness, you mean to tell me that Joel Osteen, he's that way with women? No, I'm here to tell you Joel Osteen's that way with boys.
That is actually actionable right there. He could actually sue him. I can't believe that he said some of this stuff. That's nuts. It's not true either, as far as we can tell. There's no evidence for any of this, FYI. With Copeland or Osteen, I'm the last person to defend these guys. But there's no evidence that they're like this. For the sake of completion, I should probably mention there was an allegation against Kenneth Copeland and some others, not against Joel Osteen. This woman on the left here went on these two people's program. This is Francine and Dan, I think, Fosdick. They are QAnon nutter butters, full-blown QAnon nutter butters. And this woman claimed to have been trafficked by Kenneth Copeland, Billy Graham, and a bunch of other people. And the accusation is credible. She was in their vicinity around that time. But there's no solid evidence, and the police didn't really follow up the investigation with charges or anything. And no one else has come forward. Usually in these types of situations, if this is really a widespread problem, the way she's describing, like being passed around to other televangelists and sold and, given out and things like that, usually if that's what's happening in reality, there will be other people that come forward, but... So I don't know. I don't feel like it's fully credible enough to believe, but Greg Locke doesn't have any more information on this than anybody else. He's just pretending to.
By the way, you ever heard of a dead man switch? Well, just in case they come and try to me, I got one of them. Let them chase me down. Huh? It'll all go on the internet. Every last drop of it.
It should be given to the police immediately. Give it to the cops. Why are you sitting on this? The real answer here is he's not. He doesn't have any evidence of malfeasance or misdeeds or any of that. It's completely made up. But if he did, he would be in as much trouble as they are. You can't just own copies of this type of stuff. It should go to the cops immediately. And besides that, where did this stuff even come from? Where would he have even gotten copies of this? Just absurd from top to bottom. It's so easy to poke holes in this.
Tom Hanks, Oprah, and all them.
So he has evidence of them too. Wow, okay. Fascinating. I mean, of course, it's all completely made up, but the point here is Greg Locke never gave up on this. He continued to believe this stuff to the very end. He believed it all the way back in 2013. He believed it all the way back when this was released. I don't have any idea when that was. And he believes it now. This guy lives in a fantasy land. He cannot get a grip on reality. Please come back to reality with the rest of us, Greg. You know, earlier I did mention Cat Williams claiming to have been a pimp. Look, this is his Wikipedia page. Let me Google, or let me search for the word pimp here. It's all through it because that's what he named all of his albums. He claims to have been a pimp. He says that that's what he did for a living before getting famous. This is like a big part of his life and of his career and stuff. He built his brand off of being a pimp. You know, like Andrew Tate, for example. I used to watch Cat Williams for what it's worth until I saw this video. This is from, when is this from? You know what? I'm not actually sure when this is from, but yeah, it's old. It's real old. I remember seeing this years and years ago. Watch this.
We too old. We too smart. We too good to believe shit don't make no sense. You too old to be believing in evolution with your stupid mother ass. Evolution say people came from monkeys. And the question is, why is there still monkeys, you dumb mother you?
This is so ridiculous. I don't even know how to respond to it. The question, if we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys, is so misinformed. It's like, where do I even begin to try to dissect it? We didn't come from monkeys. We are apes. Taxonomically, that's the type of creature that we are. We are apes. We've been apes since the beginning. We descended from apes. There are still apes around for the same reason that Latin as a language is still around, or Spanish and English and German are still around, even though they all have common roots. I mean, I don't know if those are all common. One's Germanic and one's Latin-based and one's Greek-based. Anyway, the point is, all language comes from the same root ultimately, right? There are still apes around for the exact same reason that, you know, Australian accents exist and New Zealand accents exist and English accents exist. I can't even believe this dude couldn't get a grip on this and decided to do a whole comedy bit about it.
And the question is, why is there still monkeys, you dumb mother you? Is these the retarded monkeys? They didn't turn into people just yet. Get your stupid ass the out of here.
It's pretty aggressive, man. And they say that atheists hate Christians. I certainly do not. I have nothing against Christians. But wow, dude, they seem to have an animosity for me. At least Cat Williams.
Finna be 2012. And you better believe something.
So, I think it's 2011 when this came out, apparently.
Won't nobody give a fuck what you believe. You better believe something. If there's any atheists in the house, let me say, you stupid mother. I don't care what God you believe in. You gotta be a special kind of retarded to be too stupid to make up a God if there wasn't one.
Wait, is he saying that atheists make up gods or made up a god? Is that what I'm picking up? If that's what I'm picking up, is that what he's putting down is the real question. Okay, so it's better to make up a god than to believe in nothing. Is that what he's saying? I think that's what he's saying here.
There wasn't one. Po thing, who do you even pray to? Nobody. Even when you why do you Nothing. That's right, because that's what you believe in. You can't.
That's kind of funny. That was a funny joke, even though he's aggressive and hateful and bigoted. By the way, that's the actual definition of bigotry. Racism is prejudice based on somebody's race. Sexism is prejudice based on someone's sex, right? Bigotry is prejudice based on someone's beliefs. Now, bigotry has kind of spread out to mean a little bit more than just that, but this is bigotry, plain and simple. It doesn't get clearer than that, right?
2012 coming. We already ready. Been ready. I don't care what you believe in. Believe in something.
So you telling me it's better to believe in what he believes is a false god? Say Vishnu, it's better to believe in Vishnu, a false god, in his mind, than to not believe in anything? How did he get there? How did he come to this conclusion? Remember, this religious nutcase is a self-avowed pimp. He is proud of human trafficking. He parades it around. Names his albums, I'm a Human Trafficker, okay? Or more specifically, I guess he named his album The Pimp Chronicles Part 1, The Human Trafficker Chronicles. Seriously, you know, it sounds like I'm joking. I'm not. That's what a pimp is. They're human traffickers. They take advantage of people, they manipulate them, they exploit them financially and emotionally, take them for everything they're worth, take their dignity, take their lives, the exact same way cults do it. It's illegal in this case of human trafficking, but cults get away with it because they have religious protection. That's neither here nor there.
And I have no gold to spend. I'm gonna give my life to Jesus Christ until my journey's end. I was once in bondage, my life was full of sin, until that wonderful night when my Savior came in. He came within me and gave me a new start. He took me from the miry clay and gave me a new heart. I'm the leader of the pack, but my sheep call me pastor, walking in the steps of my Lord and my master.